Invincible, Season 2, Episode 2. Yep, let's get into it. Invincible, Season 2, Episode 2. This is picking up where kind of the battle from the last episode kind of really left off with Mark trying to figure out what he needs to do with himself and how he's going to, make his way in the world. Debbie's still struggling to deal with stuff, and the entire aftermath of the battle that him and his father kind of went through. All that stuff that's going on in Chicago is kind of everything that we're hitting on. So this starts off with Mark is graduating. Finally graduating high school. He can be a full-fledged superhero. He can figure out whatever he wants to do in his life. He can do his thing. In the process of that, everybody else is there. Eve is graduating. Amber is graduating. William is graduating. So they're all trying to figure out what their plans are. In the process of the graduation, of course, Mark isn't there. He's fighting, Doc Seismic, who showed back up to kind of get into some stuff. He go ahead and takes care of Doc Seismic real quick and then makes the graduation to walk across the stage. In the process, they'll talk about what they're going to do. Invincible is dedicated to still being a superhero, so he's going to stay here in case Cecil needs him, while everyone else has things that are of their interest trying to do. Eve specifically going to go help rebuild Chicago and make sure everything is good to go there. So that's going to be a great thing to see with her really trying to get into her powers and really try to make a difference. So superheroes helping all fronts, right? So throughout the course of this, Mark and Debbie are still trying to figure out how to deal with each other and how to cope with everything that's going on. It's like you tell they still love each other, but again, there's not seeing eye to eye. There's still some issues there. The Guardians of the Globe, they've been going through a whole lot of rough training, especially with Immortal. Immortal's running the show, so Immortal wants things done a certain way, and that's the way he's going to have it. In the process of all this training and stuff, Rex Lode is like having some issues and just like, yo, this is rough. I ain't got time for this. So he's trying to go hug up on Duplicate and finds out that Duplicate apparently has been, getting down with the Immortal, and that's her new boy toy. So Rex isn't happy about that, and he's got an issue. He takes issue with that, especially because it's the guy in charge. So that's the whole thing probably waiting to come to a head and really, screw some stuff up, pun intended. So the Martian that basically was Russ, one of the astronauts from one of the earlier episodes, I think episode 4 from season 1. Those astronauts are back on Earth and they're trying to figure out what's, like kind of debriefing what to deal with. And basically he's trying to be as human as possible to help sell his whole thing of hey, I'm here, I'm a good earthling, and he's doing it very awkwardly, of course, and stuff. And in the process of that, he pretty much just decides like, I got to do as best I can to really fit in and figure out where to go from here. So we're probably going to see more of him later on down the line throughout the course of the season. Now Debbie ends up going to see Cecil, and she sees Donald. Now you remember Donald got Mortal Kombat fatality, around the block with his whole spine being freaking just done up by Omni-Man in an attempt to disable him. So Debbie saw kind of all this go down and stuff. So when she runs into Donald again there with Cecil, she's like, hey, something, what? I know I saw what I saw. And Cecil just kind of brushes it off. So she's trying to figure out how to make head or tail. Why is Donald still back here? Of course, I'm thinking Donald is either got duplicates as well, or there's multiple Donalds, or some to that effect. I don't know. Again, I haven't read the comics, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. But Tony will be able to shed some more light on that. Even her parents are still having issues. They're trying to figure out how to, deal with stuff. The mom's trying to just be a good wife and be a good mother and not try to make anybody angry, but dad is not having with Eve's powers. Her powers are abomination. She shouldn't have so that, but they're going hungry, I guess. They don't have enough food in the refrigerator. He's working at Burger or something or whatever because he lost his job because of what happened in Chicago. The whole corporate office blew up. So that's been a whole problem. And he blames Eve for all this stuff and her powers and basically not being responsible. All right. So In the process, we also see that Russ on TV, the astronaut, he sees like a vignette of the old Martian man kind of helping people and saving people. So he ends up shifting back to himself and kind of like, maybe I could do something like that, or maybe he wants to be the new Martian man or something to that effect. So he kind of gets happy when he sees that scene. So we kind of know something's coming there. Invincible, he has to deal with the fallout from basically his father and him killing the Guardians of the Globe. So we're getting a lot of pushback from people who are in relation to the Guardians of the Globe. So with Darkwing's one of the bigger issues. Darkwing is one of the bigger issues because he used to be Nightboy. He was the assistant to Darkwing. Since Darkwing was smashed up, it's like, all right, well, what are we going to do here with him? Because now he's imitating Darkwing and he's running around trying to be Darkwing. So Cecil's like, hey, go snatch him up. We got to bring him in. So like that. So I was like, great. It's kind of like they're bringing back the Guardians, the original Guardians of the Globe. And we're getting pieces. So we're kind of closing those ends off so that we can see either they're going to be reincarnated into other heroes, so to speak. So they're going to kind of mantles are going to be taken up and they're going to be brought back into the fold in something, or they're just going to kind of close off. So with Darkwing, hey, snatching up the new Darkwing and putting him into the thing. We got a new, possibly freaking Martian man or something on the way. And then Invincible's got to go down there and talk to the Queen, because apparently, and that's the whole thing this episode was named after, in about 6 hours, I'm going to have to lose my virginity to a fish. That's the full title of the episode, which just show up to the end. So yeah, he's about to lose his virginity to fish because he's got to go down there. And the way the custom work is you need to marry the widow of the one you killed, so to make amends. And I'm like, well, that's going to be freaking wild. Is she going to look like the way the king of the Atlantis looked, or is he going to, is she going to be a sexy mermaid or something? I don't know. We get down there. Nope, she looks just the same as he did. Just a fish. A fish with freaking more female curvature to show she's a female, obviously. And they're like, yeah, we're not doing that custom. You got to go trial by combat. So he ends up having to scrap with the Depth Dweller, which is apparently some kind of like cuttlefish looking thing. It's got like little thing that'll lure you in, like a little seahorse looking thing that'll lure you in, and there's a huge monster underneath, and Invincible's got to scrap with this thing. So now he's getting ready to scrap, and eventually it gets loose, and it starts to tear up the Atlantean cities because it just don't care about nobody. But that's what helps redeem him in the process and shows that he's now like his father. His father would just peace out and say, the heck with it. So he decided to stay, fight the monster, eventually defeat it, and save. So he kind of gets called even with the Atlanteans. So they're on a truce. Called even because he saved the people, he saved the queen. So that's a really good thing to see. The lizard people show up. The Lizard League, even though they got the king locked up, but the Supreme Lizard is taking over. Now he's coming in to take over the show and, attack and see what's going on. So the Guardians of the Globe were sent out to go deal with him. So they end up dealing with them fairly easily. And that's where the Shapesmith shows up, pretending to be Rex. Now the Shapesmith is our Martian man. Like, he's not going by Martian man, he's going by Shapesmith. So he's still maintaining the look of a human, but a superhero human now. So he gives his little kind of his generic backstory of superhero, where I was born a baby and I got my powers through an industrial accident, and here I am trying to use my powers to do good. Hilarious, because again, it's like he read it off the back of a cereal box, and it's absolutely great. But he's here, he's automatically accepted into the Guardians of the Globe per the Immortal. And even though there's some hesitation on everyone's like, we know nothing about him, you're just bringing him in, and this is from Robot, so it's going to be interesting to kind of see how this plays out. Debbie, again, she's still trying to process these issues, which is really, really good, because Debbie is getting mad, and I'm trying to figure out where this is going with Debbie, because Debbie was there trying to show a house, like she's real trying to show a house and stuff like that, and this couple, and this guy is treating his wife like crap, like, no, don't even ask, we're not staying here, you want me to come home even later from work, blah, blah, blah. He's just kind of going off on her, And Debbie under her breath, she's like, yo, she is not your pet. Like that line got Debbie messed up. So Debbie is ready to throw hands with this dude just because he's treating women like crap. So eventually her partner kind of smooths over and tells her to go home, but Debbie's still angry about it, so she doesn't go home, and she's just trying to close a cabinet that won't close and ends up smashing everything. And her son comes home, and they just kind of console her. So they have a moment, and that's good for them to have that moment to really we're trying to figure this out. So it's good to see that they're getting back together, so but she's still got some things that she has to work out, and that's going to be big for her. Now Eve had done some really great things to go help out in Chicago, right? She got Chicago together. She went and rebuilt some stuff, but the construction works matter because, like, how do we know that's even up to code? What did you do? You just put stuff together and stuff all willy-nilly. She ended up creating a whole little park for the kids, and everybody was happy. But later on, when she came back, and her dad was like, hey, well, your powers are a problem. Because look, and he showed her the paper where dozens were injured in the little fountain play area by Chicago. And the reason the city never built over that is because it was too unstable to begin with. It was not well developed for what, kind of suitable structures that she wanted to put on there. And that's what caused a problem for it to kind of like have a sinkhole or something kind of sink in and cause people to be injured. So now Eve's got to deal with the gravity of that. Like, she's trying to help. She really wants to help, but apparently she's not doing it in the right way. And now it's a problem. And this is kind of helps give her dad some weight. So your powers are an abomination. Like, they're not doing what they should be. They shouldn't be here, so on and so forth. And like, again, that rift is just getting bigger and bigger between them. So that's something. And I don't know how she's going to take it or how she's going to process that going forward. Supreme Lizard, they failed, but they got away. And now he's like, we're going to get this figured out. We are going to figure out how to beat the Guardians Globe. No one's going to do us. We're going to get this done. And then he gets shot in the freaking head by none other than King Lizard, who was back and is like, yeah, nah, I'm running the show. This is how we're going to run it. And I was like, wow, that's set up freaking very nicely for him to come back. And that's just kind of where it stops. But we kind of get a little bit of something at the end there. A little bit of something at the end is we actually get to see the alternate Invincible, the alternate reality Invincible. And it seems like, he's been freaking strung up and he's trying to figure out freaking like, okay, what am I doing now? Like, why am I strung up? What happened? So that they caught him, basically they wore him down and caught him while he was sleeping. So I don't know where he's going to kind of fit in, but he's kind of set up into a secure facility. And now Cecil is there along with Donald, and they're there with a mysterious figure who's been talking to him the entire time. But we know who that mysterious figure is. That is the main villain of the series. He is warped in. Invincible has been captured and strung up and stuff like that. And he's just like, yeah, you need to be tortured. Like, I need you taken out. So that, and he's off the board in this particular world. Again, his revenge is coming to fruition that he really, really wants. So as he's leaving, so he kind of warps out of there, and you see Cecil and Donald, but they're female versions because it's alternate reality. So it's female versions of them. And they're just like, what was that? What was going on? So yeah, this is a lot of things going on in this series. And again, everybody's got their own little story that really has a lot of weight to it. Like, everybody's struggling to deal with so much stuff. And that's why this is so gripping for me. Like, I'm really enjoying how their stories are playing out and how, like, every time there's an action, there's a consequence that is really kind of messing everybody up. So, I mean, this episode here, so like that, yeah, again, it's high up on the scale. So like that, these episodes freaking are no less than an 8 so far. I said, where everything they're going, the stories that they're telling, and how they're getting the characters, moved along. And again, it's supposed to run 8 episodes and stuff like that. And the way that they're telling these stories in depth and how much information is in there, I think by the time we get to the season finale, it's going to be bonkers, just like it was the first time. So again, hats off to Amazon and everything they've been doing. They've been on point, and I'm really excited to see where the rest of this goes. So again, what do you think is going to happen? Tell me in the comments, where do you think this is going to go? Freaking something's going on with Donald. So that is a bunch of him. Debbie's got some issues she's going to work out. And wait for her to use that card so we can find out what's going on. I forgot old girl's name of the speedster with that, but we got to figure out what's going on with that card that she got. So that may lead, Debbie to something going on. Mark is, happy with his girlfriend and stuff, and they're really moving forward. But I kind of feel like, there's going to be a monkey wrench thrown in there somewhere at some point, and how that's going to work out. And what's Eve going to do? Like, Eve is now just, torn between helping and not helping, because her helping is not doing what she wanted to do. So, that's it. Freaking, like, again, I'm hyped for this. So tell me what you want to see in comments. Tell me what you think is going to happen, how you think it's going to play out. If you read the comics and stuff like that, and kind of where it's going to go, hey, feel free to talk to me about it. Let me know. So that, like, I'm interested. Just throw a little spoiler in your comments so other people can skip it if they're not going to read it. But that's all I got for this one. Hey, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We are going to be covering this every episode as it drops so that we can make sure that we're talking about it and get you guys informed. So that's all I got. I will catch you in the next one.